Hi there, Steve here. I'm back from Montreal, back from Langfest. Never really got a good night's sleep in Montreal because of the 3-hour time difference, and I'm still kind of half asleep. But I want to talk a bit about the Arabic language, which version of the Arabic language I'm going to start to focus on, and how that ties into the Langfest. So please bear with me. At the end of this, my little monologue here, I'll show you an interview with a person I met who is from Egypt and who has influenced me in terms of my direction of my Arabic language learning. But I first of all wanted to say that the Langfest, this Festival des Langues that they have in Montreal, is a wonderful event. And there were speakers on many different subjects, motivation in language learning, techniques in language learning, people like Anya, who teaches German online, and a quick snapshot of her. Of course, the whole thing has been organized by 3 people, one of whom is Tetz, and you'll see a good friend of mine from many years back, and you'll see a picture of him here with me. And but the Langfest, the main thing about it is that it's an incubator of motivation. People meet other people who are learning different languages, who have different techniques, different approaches, different resources, tools that they use, content that they use. In fact, one session we were engaging with the other people in the audience to talk about which are the good resources, which are the good tools. So people come away from this sort of charged up and ready to, go after their languages. And so then getting back to my strategy, I have to say that my enthusiasm for Arabic was flagging a bit. I arrive in Montreal and I'm picked up by an obviously Arabic or possibly Arabic looking taxi driver. And I say a few things to him in my modern standard Arabic. And his comment was, I sort of understand you, but my daughter wouldn't understand you at all. In other words, no one speaks what you're learning. And I had this one other time in a restaurant, somebody waiting for my table in a little cafe, and I said, please, min fadlik. I said, I don't know if that's right or wrong. He kind of looked at me, and I said, min fadlik. I'm learning Arabic. That means please. I think, oh, yeah, but I'm Lebanese. So I said, what am I doing with this Arabic? Nobody speaks it. And I got quite keen on Farsi, actually. And I'm still keen on Farsi, and I'm going to also do Farsi. But then I met Heba, whom you're going to meet shortly. She traveled all the way from Cairo, Egypt, to participate in the Langfest. By far the person who came the farthest away. A very pleasant person, very helpful. She's going to help me. She's going to record our mini stories in Egyptian Arabic. So I'll be able to listen to these stories that I've been listening to in modern standard Arabic. Now I'm going to listen to them in Egyptian Arabic. She also was full of advice on places to visit in Egypt and all the kind of stuff. All of this is very motivating. So, and everyone has told me that the most widely understood form of Arabic is Egyptian Arabic because the movie industry, the entertainment industry, etc., it's based in Egypt. So all of the Arabic speakers who speak their own versions of Arabic in the Arab world, they all watch Egyptian TV programs, series, and so forth. And my wife and I even came across an Egyptian version of Grand Hotel, which is the series we watched in Spanish. It's available in Egyptian Arabic. So with help from Heba and others, if I can work my Egyptian Arabic up to a certain level, I might even be able to watch that TV series. So, and there were some very nice Turkish people there as well, and Farsi speakers. So my strategy remains to go after the sort of Middle East, Central Asia, Arabic, Farsi, Turkey. And of course, the thing about that area, and particularly Egypt, it's not just the Arabic language, it's the history, it's Egypt. If I go there and I can speak and then I can visit, the historical sites and so forth. So all of that is motivation. So, if my goal is to learn 3 languages from that region, Egyptian, or at least Arabic with an emphasis on Egyptian Arabic, Farsi, and Turkish, the only thing that is going to prevent me from achieving that goal will be time or lack of motivation. No, I'd say 3 things. The 3 things: motivation, which right now is high, time, and the third thing is sufficient resources in that language. That's extremely important. And those languages which I do best in, those are the languages where there's the greatest amount of comprehensible input available in that language. So with that, I'm going to let you watch the interview that I did with Heba. And, oh, I should say too, I'll also show you, I'll lead into that. I had the best of intentions of going around doing a vlog. I don't understand all these terms, but it's interviewing people and putting it up and stuff. But you end up not, I just can't seem, I did it at the beginning for like the first 10 minutes, but then I can't continue doing that. I'm just not into doing that. I like to talk to people, hear what they have to say. I don't want to be videoing people and stuff. So I put up a couple of videos where with the best of intentions, I started keeping a record of Langfest, and then we move on into the interview with Heba. And hopefully that will give you a bit of a sense of the Langfest, a sense of where I'm headed with my language learning. And also I want to reinforce that you know, with all of the presentations, different techniques of learning and so forth, it still comes down essentially to, I would say, motivation, time, and the availability of good, accessible, meaningful, comprehensible content that you can use. Those are the things that matter in language learning, in my view, of course. Thank you. Bye for now. So this is day 2 of the Langfest. I've just had my coffee and croissant in the neighborhood. Boulangerie, Pain d'Épi, it's known as. And last night I was at a Mundolingo event where all kinds of enthusiastic people were speaking all kinds of different languages. This is my subway or metro stop. I'm about to jump in the metro and head on down to the Langfest. And I will try to do videos throughout the day. I'm not presenting today. I had a presentation yesterday, one again tomorrow. So I'm gonna maybe interview people and give you a sense of what the Langfest is all about. See you later. So this is my stop here, Lionel, and I'm waiting for the train. Got my handy book of Farsi here, as email. I got my subway metro pass for the weekend, and I'm all set to go. So here it is, the lobby, and I walk in, and the first person I see is Ronnie Gao. Yeah, we don't have good lighting there, but I see his tweets and comments on the internet, so we know each other sort of virtually, and now we meet
each other for almost a decade.
Is this your first Langfest?
Yes, it is.
It is.
Yeah.
And where are you based?
I'm based out of Toronto.
Oh, you're based out of Toronto. And you are fairly active on social media, I think.
In a good way or in a bad way?
In a good way.
Okay.
And you talk about language, right?
Yes.
Largely? Yeah.
Language.
Okay. One of the many enthusiastic people participating in the Langfest. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Hi, the Langfest is wrapping up. I have sitting with me here Heba Ismail, who is the person who came from the furthest away to attend the Langfest, because you started your journey in?
Well, I started my journey as I think it's on the 19th, so I got here on the 20th.
But from Cairo?
Yes,
from Cairo. Came from Cairo just to participate in the Langfest?
Yes, it took me actually 26 hours to get here.
Wow. We had people from the States, from Europe, from Mexico, but from Cairo you were the furthest. Oh. And it's very timely because, of course, when you come to the Langfest, you meet all kinds of people, you have very pleasant conversations, everybody enjoys themselves. And I think this is a very fateful meeting because I was complaining about trying to learn modern standard Arabic, and nobody speaks modern standard Arabic. So when am I going to learn a version of Arabic, and which one should I learn? And Heba's advice is?
Well, what I said is that learning it for reading is good, but learning to speak, then choosing the Egyptian Arabic would be an easy dialect because it's easier to pick. It's not so far from the modern standard, and in the same time, it's understood by every Arabic-speaking person. So you wouldn't feel that whenever you are speaking with someone, that you are not understood. As long as they understand Arabic, they're going to understand the Egyptian Arabic.
And the other attractions are that, it's funny, my wife and I were watching Netflix, and there's of course different programs there, and we had watched this Gran Hotel, which is a series in Spanish, and lo and behold, it shows up in Arabic.
True.
And so I say to myself, so now I have a goal. And actually Heba's going to help us. She's going to take our mini stories at Link and she's going to record them in Egyptian Arabic.
Yes, that would be my pleasure.
And if I can get to where I understand it, then I'm going to watch Grand Hotel with my wife. She has the subtitles, right? And then longer term goal is to visit Egypt. And maybe you should mention a little bit some of the things to see in Cairo that people don't, they only know about the Giza, the pyramids at Giza. So what are some of the other attractions?
Well, there are so many other attractions depending on what sort of thing that you like. So if you're into history and you want to see things like the pyramids, then there is also pyramids in Dahshur, and there is pyramids, or there are some other monuments that exist in the area in Al Haram area, which is basically a little bit further away from the pyramids, but close by. So they don't really advertise those things that much because they are not as attractive as the pyramids. But if you are into nature and things that are just so beautiful and magnificent, then in Cairo you can go to Ma'adi. There is a preserve there. There is a mountain with caves and everything, which is Digla. So it's wonderful there. It's so beautiful, so natural, and it doesn't have that, you know, it has that charm of nature untouched.
And you were also suggesting that it's a good time to go and travel around other areas of
if you take like a Nile cruise from Cairo to Luxor and Aswan. In Luxor and Aswan you are gonna find, of course, so much history and so many monuments to watch and things like that. But the trip itself is so magnificent because you go through the Nile. So basically you watch everything along the banks, and there are villages, and there are lots of history that goes along, and things that you would see people and you would see life going by, but still holding to that same tradition and that same culture and life. So if you're there, definitely visit Nubian families. You're gonna be so happy. You're gonna learn a lot. There are magnificent people. They're so friendly. So you're gonna enjoy it.
There you go. So that plus the fact that the Arabic movie industry is essentially dominated by Egyptian production.
True.
So I'm gonna decide that I'm gonna take my modern standard up to a certain point, and then I'm gonna start to focus on Egyptian Arabic, with the intention of visiting one day and hopefully visiting with you in Cairo.
Definitely, I would be so happy to receive you.
Thank you. Okay, so there you have it from the Langfest in Montreal. Bye for now.